So Annette, do we have everyone but Dave Olrath?
Yes, and you're live and it's working.
Okay. Do you want me to wait on Dave or go ahead and begin?
It's your call. Go ahead.
Mr.
Okay,
Chair,
I assume.
I'll send him a text.
Okay, you didn't hear anything from Dave that he was not coming, correct?
No. Oh, here he is. Almost.
Okay, I don't see him on my screen, Annette. Is he present?
He is present. His video is just off right now at this point, but he's there.
Okay, very good. In that case, we'll call this meeting to order. And Jennifer, would you please take the roll?
Curran?
I am present via Zoom from Niles Township.
Oh, you're back. Meeks?
President via Zoom, Ben Charter Township.
Volrath?
I'm present, Paloma Township.
And Werfel?
President, Royalton Township.
Mr. Chairman, you have 4 present.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda are approval of the minutes of March 10th, 2021.
So moved. Ballworth.
Werfel support.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Julie. Any discussion on the minutes? Jennifer, would you please call the roll, please?
Curran?
Yes.
Meeks?
Yes.
Volrath?
Yes.
Werfel?
Yes.
You have 4 yeas.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is our county administrator, Brian Doucette.
So members of the admin committee, just a couple of housekeeping items. Admin committee is going to be busy for the next couple of weeks. So at this point, we are meeting today. Then admin will be meeting again next Wednesday, the 24th at 10 a.m. And then the admin committee will meet again on, I believe we are scheduled for Wednesday, the 31st at noon. So next week, admin will be meeting, and I've asked Arthur Havlicek from the Chamber of Commerce to come and give a talk with this committee about some of his ongoing efforts to push the state of Michigan to release some of the COVID relief dollars. And then we also have some follow-up resolutions that the admin committee has been discussing. For your meeting on the 31st, we'll have Caitlin Samsel from 911, as well as Attorney John Axe from Clark Hill, coming to give a talk to the committee about funding options that are out there for 911 operations, and then possible capital improvements. So that's just a quick housekeeping item for the committee. For today, we've got Neil on the line. So Neil Colston is our interim director at the road department. And Neil is here. He can answer any questions about upcoming paving. But the thing that I wanted to suggest is, since we do have 2 meetings coming up in the next 2 weeks, I was hoping that if this group is agreeable, that we'll give Neil a chance to work with Kevin Stack over at Roads to put together just a brief presentation on what is going out to bid, what is planned for paving for the 21 calendar year, and then just remind the group that with the bidding environment, there could be some unexpected numbers coming in. We just don't know, but we are set to open the first round of bids next Thursday at the Finance Committee. Mr. Chair, those are my comments. Can I answer any questions?
Just from the committee members for Brian. Okay, not hearing any, then we'll move on to resolutions. First resolution is contract with Abedmarsh for design and management services. Brian, you want to give us an update on that?
Sure. So I'm just going to do a quick screen share. I've sent this file out to the group, and this is a response from Abedmarsh. They're a local-based engineering firm, and folks, I'm going to try and shrink this down a bit to make it a little easier to see. So what you're looking at is a response from a request for qualification. And the RFQ request was sent to Abedmarsh, to Whiteman, and to Edgewater. And all three are local engineering firms that have some experience working with Marion County. The RFQ seeks management services as well as support services to assist the road department as we look to the next 3 months. My intent is, if the admin committee is agreeable, is to proceed with this agreement. And under the agreement, we would have coverage coming directly from Chris Cook. For any of you that have followed engineering, Chris was a longtime owner and operator of Abedmarsh. And Chris is slowly phasing out of the company, but he will be working there through the 2021 calendar year. So under this agreement, Chris would be on site working for the county, running the road department for 20 hours a week. And then under the RFQ, we would have 10 hours of additional coverage that would then be assigned between mutual agreement between myself and Chris. And he has a team of on-site engineers that know road building and know the county quite well. So Abedmarsh would have either Chris Cook, Jason Marquardt, Corey Kando on site working to support our 2021 maintenance plans. And if agreeable, we would proceed with getting this started in the coming days. My hope is that Neil is willing to stay on in a project management role and support Chris as his team gets underway. Under this agreement, we would have a monthly cost of just over $19,000. I want to double check my number.
Yeah, I think it's on resolution 19360.
Yep, $19,360. And it is worth noting that Abedmarsh is discounting their standard billable rate for Chris by 30%. So continuing on, I've got personal experience dealing with all of the engineering team. I've worked many projects with Jason, Corey, and Dan, as well as well over a decade of experience working with Chris. Part of the engagement would be having them support us on some strategic communications, just doing outreach to the various township partners and making sure that we are following up on any issues of concern with the townships. But the number one goal here is to get them on board and get support to our engineering staff at the road department so that we are pushing as many projects out into the county as possible. Now, I asked Neil to join you all today just to offer his observations on the amount of support that could be used out at the road department. Neil, is there anything that you'd like to add?
Kevin was in the process. He had interviewed 2 candidates for 2 vacant engineering positions, engineering aide and an engineer. And he sent out an offer letter to the engineering tech who lives in Bridgman about a little over a week ago. And so far, I haven't heard anything back. Communications aren't all that good coming back from some of the staff at the road department. So I did send a message to him yesterday and asked if there's any word back. Did the person accept the offer? And I haven't heard anything yet. There was another position that he had been interviewing somebody, and was close to making an offer, but that hasn't come through. So they've had these vacancies for quite a long time. And at one time, when I sat with Carrie and Kevin, they told me that the wages weren't adequate enough to attract good candidates. And we were starting the process to adjust those wages, or at least look at them and see if they needed to be adjusted. In the meantime, you know, I didn't get any feedback from them. And then I find out that he was talking to two candidates, which he hadn't told me before. So there might be things going on that he's not sharing with me. I don't know. So how much engineering assistance we're going to need, I guess, depends on if he's able to fill these two positions. It might not be, of course, they're all going to be starting fresh, so there's going to be a training period, but exactly how much help is going to be needed, I guess we'll just wait and see.
To follow up on that, under the agreement, we'll have Chris on site for a minimum of 20 hours a week. The agreement is flexible enough that if we do not need the additional staff support, that we don't have to engage that. This is a 3-month agreement. My hope is that it turns out to be a very good fit, and that in 3 months we're noticing that projects are getting pushed out, projects are getting built, and that things are clicking along. With that said, we do have a vacant road department director position, and my thought is that as we get to the end of April, we'll work on getting that job description reviewed and then getting the job posted. I was asked yesterday how reliant we are on outside engineering. I don't have that number, but I'll defer to Neil on how much outside engineering assistance we've been using. I would say that the road department has actively used Whiteman and Avonmarsh for a variety of their projects, everything from streetscape projects down to just simple mill and fill jobs. Neil, is there anything that you would add as far as how much outside engineering we're using?
Well, I'm thinking, I don't really know past history, but federal aid projects usually require more time than the staff has to give, so they typically, I think, would farm that out. And like Brian said, streetscapes and that kind of stuff, specialized design work, they'd probably farm out. Just mill and fill and seal coating and micro paving and all that they could do in-house, I think. Especially if they get a couple more of these positions filled.
Brian?
Mr. Chair, any questions?
Yeah. My thoughts from what I've heard so far is I would advise Kevin Stack to hold off on doing interviews and offering jobs or offers of employment until after Chris Cook gets on board. And then I think between Chris and Neil, they can handle those job position interviews after they have taken the time to look at the staffing levels and make sure, because the last flow chart that we got from the road department, I think that Chris and Neil need to see that and maybe adjust it as necessary. So I guess before we hire anybody out there, I would rather Neil and Chris be involved in that process. Brian, what do you think?
We can make that happen.
Okay. Any of the other committee members have any thoughts on this?
I agree. As Neil was going through that, I pulled the org chart from the road department that I received. And yeah, there's a number of openings in that chart, as you alluded to. So I think that does need to be under Chris and Neil.
I'm in agreement of that also.
So folks, assuming the committee is desirous of moving forward, what I'm going to try to do is schedule Chris Cook, Neil, and then Kevin Stack to come talk with you all about 21 paving plans. And I think that if we target your meeting on the 31st, that would give enough time to get the team together and put together a simple slide deck showing what's out to bid, what's going out to bid, and then some maps showing where the maintenance plans will have the county working. Does that sound like a decent approach?
Sounds very reasonable to me. Anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, Jim, this is Dave. Yeah, I'm very comfortable supporting Brian's recommendations and see where that takes us in a few months, but I feel comfortable moving along.
Thanks, Dave. Anyone else? Okay, my other question for you, Brian, is, and you got to refresh my memory here, was the road department part of the salary study that we did?
No, sir. No,
Okay.
it's not.
Well, then I guess I would task you and Neil and Chris to look at, do comparables, like we've done before, and see where our salaries out there line up with everyone else, of counties of our size and the type of responsibility that those positions perform, and see if we are in the ballpark or low or higher, see where we're at. Okay.
Understood.
Okay, very good. And now I see you're going to you've got 90 days for Abbenmarsh, and you're going to keep Neil until what, May? Was that the original agreement?
Well, that was the agreement. Well,
That smile tells me something.
there's more to the story.
Okay, then is it safe to say we'll keep Neil as long as needed, or as long as he's willing to stay?
I continue to try and encourage Neil to embrace his love of county government. So it is. I think it's safe to say we are on an agreement that he will give me notice, and I hope that notice is a little ways down the road.
Still living on COVID time.
I'll be the first to admit that I have not accomplished much out there. It's been very frustrating. And from the second day I was there, I could tell that I was, hated. And one person made it clear to me. And the treatment I've received there hasn't been too great. There are a couple good people out there that have been very good to me. And then, so they've really, I don't know, kind of makes me less enthusiastic about being there when I get that kind of treatment. So that just reduces my enthusiasm to get anything done, because if I ask a question, I don't get a response back. I put everything in emails now just to protect myself, and I don't get much feedback.
Well, I'm sure you got our support, Neil, and call on that 20 years ago, Neil, when that probably would have made you mad, people not liking you, and you'd do something about it. Just hang in there. It's
Yeah.
still early.
Yeah, and I would agree with that, Neil. I think maybe getting Chris Cook and his team out there is going to help, and that you would be more in a support role with Chris in the lead, and that might help because I think the expertise between the two of you can manage that out there very well.
Well, there's a lot of expertise out there. No matter how the feelings are, they're all, I think, all well qualified.
Well, that's good to hear, Neil, because, I guess we really don't hear or get to know too much below the department director.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's helpful to hear from you or from Chris Cook or whoever the director is going to be, just how good the staff is out there. Because
I've been pretty impressed with their qualifications.
Good. Okay, so we're gonna keep you as long as you're willing to stay and as long as necessary. And we're gonna bring Chris Cook in immediately and for 90 days. And during that 90-day period, Brian, you're gonna be posting for a road department director?
Yes, sir. So assuming the committee recommends that we proceed, we'll have this as an agenda item for the full for the full Board of Commissioners meeting today. Once we get Chris out there, get him started, I'll then be working with Neil and Chris reviewing that job description and then getting it posted. I'll be asking the commissioners for some help in spreading the word about the job posting, and then we'll be working to start the interview process.
Okay, sounds like a good plan. So is there any of the committee members who are not in favor of moving forward resolution ending in 188? Okay, not hearing any. We'll consider that moved and we will introduce it at the BOC meeting today. Hey, moving on, 89 and 90 are kind of companion resolutions, correct? Brian, you want to take them one at a time or take them collectively? Your choice.
Mr. Chair, if I can, I'll get you started on this one. Okay, so to the committee members, we do have our Under Sheriff Chuck Heides here, and Chuck's going to talk with you all about medical services that are tied to the jail inmate population. And Chuck, are you ready?
Yes, so both the resolutions you have in front of you are tied together. So we have a current contract with a third-party administrator, Wisconsin Air Corrections at the time, now doing business as Correctional Recovery. We are looking to end that contract based on some ongoing issues. We've investigated Blue Cross Blue Shield offers an inmate program, which we found we were actually using Blue Cross Blue Shield through the third party, already paying the normal fees they charge. So it makes sense. We've checked with other counties that have made this same change and others that started with Blue Cross Blue Shield when their program started. So our desire is to end our current contract. We've obviously talked with the interim corporate counsel with Judge Dwayne and Matt Derby, who's handling that. And we're looking to move forward with an April 1st, which was when the cutoff of our previous contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield through our current provider. So the timing works well to make those two changes, and they'd be effective April 1st.
Okay, thanks, Chuck. But basically, Resolution 190 terminates our contract with Concierge Corrections, and 189 authorizes to contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield from thenceforward, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, Chuck, would you be willing to just explain kind of in a dumbed down version the way medical services are provided to inmates? I think that would help just clarify to the group. If someone comes in as an inmate and they have minor issues, what medical services are provided, and then if they have major issues, what medical services are then provided?
Sure. So we contract currently with a company called WellPath. They handle all of the in-house medical. We have a physician or a physician's assistant on site 5 days a week. We have 24/7 nursing, either an RN or LPN on site for passing meds. So we take care of all the in-house. So the minor things you talk about, we do have a sick call that if an inmate needs to go to, they can. What we're dealing with in these two resolutions is strictly the payment of the bills for outside medical. So if they have to go for any reason to the ER, they have to have an outside specialist because when they came in, they may have been under care or have an issue that's arose. The county is responsible for providing that. So like I said, our current medical provider is WellPath. What we're dealing with in these is the third party administrator for the payment for outside medical services. So we handle as much as we can inside with the medical staff we have that is contracted. We just, with our last administrative assistant, we don't have a county employee anymore in it. It's all contracted through WellPath. Did I answer the question, or if there's any questions from the committee?
Any questions for Chuck? Okay, Chuck, having heard you say all that, these third parties outside the JOKs, we used to have staff that took care of that in-house?
A long time ago, before we contracted back in 2013, our medical provider covered and did that at one point. We had some issues and made the change based on some claims not getting done in a timely manner. So in 2017, we moved to Concierge Corrections, and they've done it up until this point. But as we're looking at it, Blue Cross Blue Shield, does this, and it's actually who our third-party administrator uses. So this would be a direct contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield to handle all outside medical billing. But we did it ourselves a long, long time ago. We had a very hard time getting any type of discounts or through any type of insurance rate. So that's where Blue Cross Blue Shield offers. They're set. They're in, hospitals and facilities all across the state with the agreed pricing they have.
Okay, and so when we contracted that back in 2013, the in-house staff that used to do it are no longer with us, correct?
Yeah, so at that time we had the administrative assistant to the medical was a county employee, so she would have handled some of making sure the payments got there. At the time, it was Correctional Healthcare Company. They've changed names a couple of times, which is now WellPath. So these companies, if you keep up with the name changes, it's now WellPath. So that used to be done by them, and we changed that in 2017.
Okay, got you. Very good. Any questions from the committee members for Chuck?
I have none.
Okay.
I'm okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Don.
I said I'm okay with it.
Okay, very good. If there are no objections, then we will move 189 and 190, those two resolutions forward to the full board for today's authorization. Kathy, any objections to that? Okay, Brian, looks like all three resolutions are good to go. Do you have anything else for us?
No, sir. So I've got my to-do list to get ready for the next two admin meetings. And again, we're going to be meeting back here on the next 2 Wednesdays in a row.
Okay, very good. Annette, you want to check on public comment? And if the committee members have anything to say or anything to bring up while we're waiting for public comment, please do it now.
Okay, so you have Tony Benhart from Sodas Township. If Neil is being frozen out, then I wonder why the people that are doing so are not dealt with. They are getting paid an hourly wage and are not in charge. Neil is. So why are those few still there? This seems like an ongoing thing from the original takeover. It seems like the employees rule the department, not the county administrator, sorry to say. And I think he has one other comment that he's in the process of adding right now. But I believe that's the only one. I'm gonna ask one more time if there's any public comments. Here's the other part. So with all the issues at the road department, I would ask that a complete audit of funds be done as soon as possible. That was his comment. So let me see if there's any more. I think we're good. So I'll just note that there is a 9 o'clock finance committee meeting and a 10:30 board of commissioners meeting. which will offer the public one more opportunity to have public comments if they would like. And I think you're good.
Okay, thank you, Annette. And, you know, I think as far as this committee goes, that Neil and Brian have our full support in what they're doing out at the road department. And I want to thank Chuck for coming in this morning and explaining the two resolutions to us. I think it's very helpful, you know, to hear it directly from you. And if there's any questions, they can ask you direct. I think that's very, very helpful. So Chuck, thanks again for being here this morning.
I agree. Thanks.
Okay, if there's no other business before the committee, then this meeting's adjourned. We'll see everybody at 10:30.